Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm just a normal high schooler. I have to deal with all the typical things. Homework, drama, parents. You know how it goes. But there is one thing I have had to put up with that not everyone else experiences. Bullying. Now, I know what you're thinking. Zoe, lots of people get bullied. You're not the only one. And sure, that's true. But my bullies were relentless and completely cruel. They were led by a girl named Ruby. At school, she and her minions made fun of me constantly. They knocked my things on the floor, spilled things on me, and spread the most awful rumors about me. It seemed like it would never end. Eventually, though, everything changed. I'll tell you all about it in a minute. But first, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and activate the notification bell. If you do that, you will have the best date of your life soon. So, it all started after school one day. I was hiding in my room and sobbing into my pillow so that my parents and my sister wouldn't hear me. It had been a rough morning at school, and there was nothing I could do to fix it. For the time being, I just ended up crying myself to sleep and resolving to forget about it all. But even that didn't last for long. Bright and early on Monday morning, the principal called Ruby and me down to the office to discuss what had happened. How humiliating.
Do you girls know why I called you into my office?
Ruby spoke up without any hesitation. She didn't even sound ashamed. Because I was making fun of Zoe in our closed group on Snapchat. And because I made the group and added everyone except for her. The principal let out a sigh.
Can you imagine how it might feel to be treated like that?
He asked.
It wouldn't be very fun, would it?
He paused for a moment, but Ruby didn't say anything, so he continued.
Now, why would you do something like that, Ruby? Have you ever been bullied yourself?
I'd never let anyone do that to me, she said with a laugh. The conversation continued for a few more minutes, but it was pointless. Try as he might, the principal couldn't talk Ruby into any sort of an apology. He even brought in her parents, but it did nothing to change Ruby's mind. I left the principal's office feeling just as bad as I had when I went in. This was so unfair. What had I done to deserve being treated like this? Later that day, one of my classmates stopped me in the hallway to explain what had happened.
Someone started a challenge in the group, she told me, to see who could take the funniest picture of you outside of school.
Well, that explained why it felt like everyone had been following me around. I had been seeing them everywhere. At the pool, at the grocery store, even the park with my parents and my sister. And always, they had been laughing at me.
Yeah,
my classmate continued.
The reward was like $1,000. The winner was announced on Friday. It turned out to be David. He got the picture of you falling.
Ah, yes. The picture of me falling off my bike from last week. I had seen it. That was why I had been crying all of Friday afternoon. Well, that and everything that had followed. Someone wrote "fat cow" on my school bag later that day. I'm not even particularly fat, but Ruby was clearly the one behind all this. And she knew that I had already had a bad relationship with food. So this really hurt. Because of all of that, I had spent the whole weekend crying. I couldn't even get much comfort from my friend Emily because Ruby and her group were making trouble for her as well. And everyone else. They were all on the bully side. Even the teachers overlooked most of it. That was just how things were. It was horrible. To distract myself, I set about organizing my birthday party. My birthday was on Thursday, so I threw myself into preparing for it. I was so glad to have a distraction from everything at school. I got balloons, a cake, and tons of decorations. I couldn't wait. A party was just what I needed to blow off some steam. I was so excited. But in the end, it was useless. Ruby must have heard about my plans because she threw a party at her own house the same night and invited everyone from school, even my friends. No one showed up to my party. It was miserable. As I took down the decorations and trudged upstairs to bed, I decided I couldn't take it anymore. Somehow, I just wish it would end today. I woke the next morning feeling strange. Where was I? This wasn't my bed. When I sat up, I realized that I wasn't in my room either. I was in someone else's bedroom. Feeling disoriented, I stumbled into my bathroom and flicked on the lights. Oh my God, I said out loud, staring at my reflection. Only it wasn't really my reflection. It was Ruby's. I had switched bodies with my bully. This was crazy. Ruby, sweetie, are you up? Ruby's mom was shouting from the hallway. Don't be late for school. Yeah, I'm up, I squeaked out. Just a minute. I threw on some of Ruby's clothes, marveling at how expensive they were, and hurried out into the hall. Morning, I said to Ruby's mom, trying to sound casual. I waved at the two little boys who ran past. They were probably her little brothers. Be sure to clean this mess up when you get home, okay? Only then did I notice just how much of the house had been trashed by Ruby's party last night. There were cups and streamers everywhere. It looked like everyone had enjoyed themselves. Now I was angry all over again. Yes, Mom. The first thing I did when I got to school was to go up to Ruby's minions. You know what? I asked them, a vicious smirk on my face. I've been just using you all. I need lots of servants to carry out all my evil plans. That's all you are to me, servants. I felt so powerful. In first period, I purposefully failed one of Ruby's tests, and again in third. Then, at lunch, I broke up with her boyfriend. It was strange to see Ruby in my own body when I passed her in the hallway, but she didn't seem to be causing trouble like I was. She just looked sad. I ignored her. At the end of the day, I went to sleep, content with my revenge, expecting to be back in my own body the next day. Instead, I woke again as Ruby. It was the same the following day and the day after. When was this going to end? Eventually, Ruby approached me in the hallway one day at school with tears streaming down her face. What, are you really that upset about your boyfriend and all that? I asked her, but she just shook her head. Zoe, she said, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how bad it was. I understood then why she must have been so sad. She had seen my failed party and my parents' worried glances, had heard Emily's complaints, and felt the sting of her own friends' mean words. I was so cruel to you, wasn't I? I nodded, and for no reason. I can't believe I caused so much pain. Zoe, can you ever forgive me? After a long pause, I pulled her in for a hug. I forgive you, Ruby. Then suddenly, we found ourselves back in our own bodies. We exchanged smiles and went on our ways, keeping the secret between us. After that, Ruby never bullied anyone ever again, and she got all her friends to do the same. So that's how it all worked out. Crazy, right? Now, I know that many of you have been bullied at school for years and for no reason, too. I know how much it hurts, too. Bullying was the most horrible thing that I have ever experienced. Often, it seems like bullies can't even imagine the pain inside us and don't understand that it can last for a lifetime. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been bullied at school and if you're going through something like this right now. Just hang in there. Things will get better.